Father Patrick, what are some of the risks with podcasts? Obviously, you're living on the news cycle, and so there's a kind of hustle, there's a kind of flow, but there can be an effervescent, no, that's not the word I'm looking for, an ephemerality, a transience to all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Insofar as
Mm-hmm.
what happened in the news a week ago doesn't necessarily matter this week, at least as it concerns the workaday world. And I think like podcasts, maybe they pose a similar risk insofar as they direct our attention where it perhaps ought not be directed or needn't be directed. What do you see as to like risks of podcast consumption?
I think that's right. And you laid it out right there. The basic premise of the argument, which is that you could get too caught up in what's going on in the world, and it doesn't actually help you in the demands of your life. I mean, this is the same thing that happens to people who are addicted to cable news or to any other kind of entertainment that draws them away from the demands of their life, right? So the balance to be had is to be found by examining whether or not one is really faithful to one's state in life, one is faithful to one's vocation, and whether or not something is disturbing your peace. If you're listening to a news podcast and you find that you're always angry, maybe you don't actually need to listen to that news podcast. Maybe it's affecting you in a way that you need to liberate yourself from. So turn it off, or not just turn off a podcast, but better yet, replace it with something like Godsplaining is going to help you think about eternal things, about higher things, about the greatest things to be had in this life until such time as we're called home to God, which sounds like a phrase Father Gregory would say.
I was thinking the same thing.
So I think that I think that we certainly should be critical about the kinds of thing we're listening to, how much time we spend listening, who we spend listening to. I mean, these are all good assessments for the media we consume in general. Being mindful of all of this.
Yeah, Father Joseph Anthony, your thoughts when you talk to your students and they're just like little content consumption monsters. What do you counsel them, or how do you counsel them?
I think the risks of podcasts in that sense is that we always have to have some noise going on. So if you're walking across grounds or going from one thing to the next, you have to fill that space with something. And podcasts are attractive because it can be substantial. Like you can learn more, whether that's about history or philosophy or, the faith. And you're like, oh, this is good content, so it's okay, and it's actually laudable to be listening as I go in between things and stuff like that. But I do think it's important sometimes to just take the AirPods out of your ears and walk across grounds and say hi to people and open yourself up to engaging with somebody that you come across their path on.
Father Bonaventure, if you had to choose between getting Warby Parker glasses, subscribing to a YouTube channel, or flossing your teeth, what would you choose?
Oof. I guess, to be honest, subscribing to a YouTube channel.
See, folks, it's not as bad as flossing your teeth or getting Warby Parker glasses. Please subscribe to Godsplaining. Cheers.